Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for the week of January 19th through 25th. So that would make it the third or so-ish week of January. You guys know what to do. Please like this video. Please share it with anybody that needs to hear the energies and the influences of the week. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Comments down below. I always appreciate your comments. I really enjoy reading them and interacting with you guys. Love hearing how things resonate, how they don't. Love hearing from you. Just be kind is all I ask. And I think that's it. Same 3 decks as the last reading, but it's still new. I have messages from, what is it called? Messages from the Spirits of Nature Oracle that I'm using. Shuffled, ready to go, and then you guys are familiar with the other 2 decks as well. So moving them out of the way here. All right, shuffled, ready to go in the order that feels intuitively right. And I think that's it, guys. Let's see what we have in store. All right, what do we need, guys? Tobacco, oh God, now it's gonna test me on how to say this. Reciprocity, reciprocal energy. Let's put it that way, guys. Sorry. With the way my brain is, it's hard to sometimes pronounce words, but basically we need receptive energy, right? So what we give out, we need to get back, basically. So that's interesting energy to start out with the need card. Usually the first card out the gate is kind of like maybe doesn't tell the story, but it's like kind of strong energy because it's kind of wanting to be heard, basically. So we need to make sure, so it's under need. So basically it's saying like we need to feel like what we're pouring into is pouring back into us. I mean, that's what the best way I can kind of say it is, like, make sure there's like an even give and take. I would not be surprised if we got some balance cards, if we got the exchanging gifts cards, because this is kind of like similar type energy where it's saying like, make sure, like, again, what you're putting out there is coming back to you. The things that you're pouring into are pouring back to you. Like, almost like, you can almost say like investing. This could be maybe a message for some of you guys out there that you need to invest. Like, maybe it's time to put your money somewhere, right? Maybe it's literal in that way, where it's saying like, yeah, invest your money so it can come back to you, and you can make money on it, and it does something for you, right? Instead of, just spending all the time or sitting in a savings account, not accruing anything. So that could be it as well. So if anybody out there has been thinking about, oh, maybe I need to invest, here's your validation for it, right? But this could be relationships too, right? We need relationships that, maybe over time you've been kind of coming to the conclusion that you pour into your relationships a lot and they don't really pour back, whether that's friendships, whether that's significant others, or romantic connections, whether that's family. If you're trying to keep a relationship alive in your life and you feel like you're not getting what you give back, it might start wearing on you or coming to your consciousness this week and being very apparent to you. It's very obvious to you now. So you definitely need more of that reciprocity. God, guys. Reciprocity. There we go. Whew, Lord. Okay. So you need that receptive energy. So again, what you pour into, whether it's others, whether it's maybe it's a community, maybe it's an organization that you don't feel like it's giving back to you. It could be anything, right? And like I said, it could also have a more literal meaning where it means invest, and maybe not just investing in money, by the way. It could be investing in your health, investing in, investing in your appearance, something along those lines. And you need to see the rewards of that, right? The way that I'm actually putting this together for me is like, I've put in the work, like I put in the discipline. I've eaten, I've done the protocol. I've eaten all the foods I was supposed to eat. I have done the work, and now I'm waiting for the receiving portion of it. Hello. So, that could be part of that for sure. That could have that meaning as well. So yeah, this card has a lot coming from it. Okay. So, take what resonates, leave the rest. But, yeah, a lot of stuff coming through with this card there. Okay, what do we need? Action needed. So this is where we actually take action. Ooh, you guys know I love this card. I haven't had it in a while. Warrior, strength, skill, discipline. Speaking of discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Okay, so this is extreme discipline. This is extreme strength. This is extreme. I'm going to keep going. I'm a warrior. I have extreme strength. I'm going to power through. So we got to power through. Pretty straightforward, right? We've got to be the warrior. We've got to stay strong. We've got to power through. We've got to keep going. I love this card, but sometimes when it does come up, it means like, all right, that means that this week is going to be tough. That's what that means, right? So that might be it for sure, but we have to keep going. Maybe you're just like at your, at your wit's end, but Spirit is asking you to continue to keep going, keep powering through. You've got this. Yeah, not too much more I can say there. Just, again, keep going. And I know you guys are huge warriors, and you definitely have got this for sure. Okay, issue, we have a leg up. Okay, so this is always advantageous energy. We've gotten this a few times in a row, then it disappeared for a while, but it's back. So leg up is always about like advantageous energy, like any advantage that you do have, use it, to your advantage. Any opportunity maybe that you have, use it to your advantage. So it's under issue. So basically it's saying like there might be some kind of issue that you're having with capitalizing on this, or using something to your advantage. This could be something as simple as like an advantage could be like a skill that other people don't have, or a connection that other people don't have, or I hate to say it, but privilege that other people don't have. And so it's basically saying, you're having, maybe you do have like a moral stance on it, like where you feel like, oh, I can't cut the line just because I know somebody or something like that. But it's not always bad. Like, guys, I say this all the time. Everything has a light and a shadow, including privilege. You're not and I think this is where people get kind of weirded out by the word privilege. When we say, oh, you have privilege, they get like offended by it. You don't have to be offended by it. It just, it's something that is, that's it. You can't, it's not your, you just happen to be born white, or you happen to be born into money, or you happen to be born in a non-third world country. Those kinds of things are just privileges. Like you don't have to feel bad for them, but like, it is what it is. And that's kind of what it's saying here. It's like, you have to, it's okay to capitalize like on the things that will help you get ahead, and the things that you have opportunities and advantages towards. So there might be like a moral standing with this. There might be just like some other issue that's blocking it for whatever reason. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like sometimes the universe is trying to, help you get ahead. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, do the best that you can with it. Like I said, it definitely feels like a block of some kind going on there, but I do feel like you figure it out maybe next week, or like, I know this is just a weekly reading, but towards the end of the week, like it doesn't feel like it's like a detrimental or major thing that's in your way, essentially. All right, what are we having other issues or challenges with? We have eagle vision. Okay, so this is really about seeing things clearly, seeing things for what they are, perceiving things a certain way. So we do have challenges with that. Sometimes we do, right? Sometimes we definitely have other cards that really symbolize this. We have many other cards that symbolize this type of energy, where we have to see a different perspective, and we might be stuck somewhere because we can't see it differently. So we can't see something for what it is, or we're not seeing things correctly, and that's creating some kind of challenge, maybe within ourselves internally, within our relationships. Maybe you can't see eye to, like basically it's saying like you can't see eye to eye with somebody or something, or you can't rectify something with you can't, it's really hard to see your point of view. If the other person's, no, you can see your point of view. You're having trouble seeing the other person's point of view. So definitely some tensions there. Definitely, again, could be, one-on-one, like you and another person, or it could be like an organization. Like maybe your job does something that you can't understand, it's as an organization, why they would do that, like why would they would make that move, right? Or something is there. So it brings a little bit of suffering, I will say here, when, in the way of like you can't necessarily see the other point of view, but again, doesn't feel detrimental, or I know I use the word suffering, that's a pretty big word, right? But yeah, it's just you're not seeing eye to eye with somebody, and that's okay. But again, I do think it'll pass. All right, what's changing? Let's see. We've got student upside down, arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. Okay. So, okay. This is continuing to want to be the student when we are definitely not the student anymore. We are not applying what we've learned, is basically what the shadow is saying. So this is basically, I feel like, oh, it's under change. Okay, that makes it a little bit better, because it's basically saying, like, maybe there's some stubbornness like attached to this, and so maybe we're changing our stubbornness, like we're becoming less stubborn. We are feeling, I would also say this could probably mean also less imposter syndrome, okay? Where, like this could symbolize, like, as the student, we think we don't know enough to teach, right? Where we're saying like, oh, we can't move on. We didn't learn enough yet. We didn't learn, I'm not an expert yet, right? That's where I'm getting like the imposter syndrome stuff from. I'm not an expert yet. I can't do this yet. I can't speak on this. I'm not an expert. And it's under change. So I think that is changing. I think, and it might be, honestly, I know this reading is for the collective in general, so, definitely could be for, like a more broad type of feeling, that we don't have to be an expert in everything to share the knowledge that we have. And I really do feel like maybe it's this year, we have a lot of planets changing. I'm not an astrologist, but I'm trying to, I've been following Saturn, to be very frank with you guys, because I figured out that Saturn is really the bane of my existence, the cause of a lot of my issues. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of outer planets are changing signs this year, which is big, which is like a big deal, that they all kind of like change signs in 1 year, in a matter of like months too. So, yeah, so I think like we're shifting into different like mindsets. And I think the idea of trying to be perfect or trying to be an expert is starting to really fall away. And since it's under change here, we're probably starting to feel that or understand that this week, that we don't have to be an expert. We don't have to, we can apply what we've learned, like just like experience. It's almost saying like experience is enough, right? Your experience, if you've gone through something, then you can teach about it. And that's why I actually like the coaching industry, and why I was originally really attracted to it, is because, as opposed to like somebody that goes to school for therapy or psychology, they learn it like in a book, and they don't have any actual experiences on like a toxic family or, whatever, that kind of stuff that they actually give therapy on. Whereas coaches, they usually like go through something, and then they're able to help guide you and mentor you and coach you through the experience that they did. And that has its own caveats and its own, negatives and downsides as well. But I really do think that we're really shifting into a place where, we can't do imposter syndrome anymore, guys. You are the expert already. You cannot learn anymore. And also, I know I'm kind of stuck on this, but a lot of energy is coming from this one as well. Like a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that think that they have to take another class, have to take another certification, have to do this. And it's great to be educated, and I'm not trying to set up an anti-intellectual, crusade here. Definitely not. But experience can go a long way. Imposter syndrome is out, and we really need to, we are the expert already, right? And so I think we really need to rely more on that and lean a little bit more on that. And that's what's changing, I feel like, in general. So however that shows up for you, could be 1,000 different ways. I'm not going to go into things because I already spent enough time on there, but put down below if you're feeling that, if you kind of understand what I'm saying there. All right, focus. We have soulmates. Okay, so I like this. All right, finally a quick one. This is basically saying soulmates are more aligned relationships that are a little bit easier. They flow a little bit better than our other relationships. So it says our priorities on our soulmate relationships. So focus on those relationships this week. Not too much more I can say there. All right, what do we need to reflect on, Dolphin? Listening. Okay, this is a good one. So this one is saying that we need to reflect on our listening skills, our active listening skills. Do we listen when people talk to us? Or are we only like listening to react and not respond? So think about how we are not communicating, because it's kind of it's part of, listening skills are part of communication skills, but how are we receiving information? How are you listening to other people's side? Are you being a little bit more understanding? What's your relationship to trying to understand others? So yeah, there's a bunch of journal prompts in there. Pick whichever one, but yeah, this is basically asking us to kind of reflect on how, are you a good listener? That kind of thing. All right, responsibilities. We have Avenger. I've been waiting for this one for a while because we had it again. This one was very similar to a leg up. We've had it quite a few times in a row and then didn't have it again. I've been waiting for this because of the turmoil that's happening here in America. Okay, desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself, but it's in the light. So it is our responsibility, guys. I know it's hard out there. I know a lot of crazy stuff is happening. Definitely take breaks when you need it. Try to balance that as best as you can. But, balance is quite literally in the card there. It says desire to balance the scales of justice. But also balance ourselves, right? Do what you can. It's your it's under responsibilities, guys. We do have a responsibility to do what we can, whether that's economically protesting, or awareness, or art that's no pun intended, but paints the picture of what's going on. Artistic expression is a really big part of resisting, I would say. What else? Even I would say resting, because I did say balance, right? Like maybe you have been out in the streets, okay? And yes, it is your responsibility to be in this archetype of the Avenger, but it's also your responsibility to rest, and rest and joy as well can be part of an act of resistance as well. I just want to say take care of yourselves and do the best you can and stay safe is really it. Okay, money and finances. We have time for a nap. Okay, not the greatest card to get for money, finances, and career. This tells me that things are not moving backwards, not moving forwards when it comes to your career, your money, and your finances, which I can definitely, trust me, I also feel this way. It feels stagnant still. It feels like Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is coming up, actually. I saw it on my calendar, and I'm like, oh God, this is my holiday. Not by choice, but it definitely feels like Have you ever seen the movie? It's the same day over and over and over and over and over again, and it's like the void in spiritual terms. But anyway, Not moving forward, not moving backwards, maybe even taking a break for money, finances, and career, whatever that means. This could even mean like taking a staycation or something this week, or maybe you're burnt out from applying to jobs because you're looking for a new job. This is definitely a sign to take a break. So not much happening, not much moving forward, but again, not much moving backwards either. So it is what it is kind of situation. All right, surprise. What do we got going on? Apple tree abundance. Yay! Okay, well, I like this one after too bad it wasn't here, but it's not the week for it yet, I guess. But it is under surprise, which is actually a nice place to get this. So it's saying abundance. So surprise abundance. So maybe that is a surprise. Maybe you find money that you forgot that you had. Maybe you get a surprise opportunity, which would actually pair nicely with a leg up. Okay, so like an advantage, like an opportunity of some kind. That's, it doesn't have to just be financially abundant. It could be abundance in opportunity, abundance in love. Maybe you have somebody reaching out to you and you feel really loved this week or something like that. Could also be that. It doesn't have to be finances. Would be nice, right? But abundance and prosperity comes in all different forms. So yeah, something surprising coming out of the blue, and I like that. I think that's awesome. There's not too much more I can say there. Friends, we have goddess, shadow, exploitation of the female, nature and form. Okay. Ooh, I don't like it in the shadow there. Okay, so this is about exploitation. All right, so I'm starting to wonder if this has anything to do with, well, actually both of these. We have spirit saying focus on soulmates, so focus on those aligned relationships. And then this one is talking about reciprocating, so reciprocating energy. So this definitely could have something to do with, I mentioned earlier as well. If you're pouring into people that aren't pouring into you, you're going to start feeling it this week. That's what I feel like. Okay, that's what I feel like the message here is. And so under an added message for friends, we have exploitation. Like a group of people, your community is not seeing you for who you are, or appreciating you is a better way to say that. They're not, and I would actually say, we all have these archetypes, guys. So even if you're male, you can have a goddess archetype, just like the females, just like women have the females, I said, just like women have, can also be in the God archetype, right? Females could also be in the father archetype as well. But anyway, so I would say this especially, I will say double down if you are a woman, that you might be feeling that, or identify as a woman, that you feel it more. You definitely feel like you're not being appreciated. Could be more of like a catty situation, and men can be catty, but it definitely feels like a group of, like, you're figuring out like maybe the women that you surround yourself with are a little bit catty, or again, not appreciating you. Could also be like people not appreciating you for your feminine qualities. And again, could be male, could be female, can be non-binary, whatever. Again, it does carry the feminine energy, but again, anybody can exude these energies. So somebody might not be appreciating you for your feminine qualities, and those are just more creativity. This is where I want to use the word yin, your yin energy. So they're not appreciating you for your compassion, for your empathy, for your creativity, for your softness, for your intuition. Those tend to be more on the yin side of things, right? And that's why I said maybe not appreciating you for who you are, because yin is also being, right? So they're not appreciating you for who you are as a person, you know, not just as a woman, as a person. It could be anybody, right? So yeah, I definitely do feel like we're starting to think about things with our friend groups or the people that we surround ourselves with. So romantic connection, we have Treasure Island. Awesome. So this could be finding treasure. So I would say our romantic connections are really positive this week. This could quite literally be that you get you find something. So for single people, this could mean like you find something that you've been looking for, right? Treasure Island, like a diamond in the rough kind of situation. So you might meet somebody that you didn't think that you would be able to meet while you're dating, like somebody that you've been kind of maybe looking for that you feel like is like a diamond in the rough. This could also be like somebody that you didn't think would be interested in you. That could also be that meaning. If you're connected with somebody, if you're in a relationship, a romantic relationship, this could mean quite literally being gifted jewelry. I know that's like really specific, but that's what's coming through. Being gifted jewelry or being gifted something expensive or something more on the material side of things that you really wanted. But otherwise, the other kind of energy here is like it's just really good between you and your romantic connection. And I like that since it looks like our friend's situation is not going the greatest, you know, so definitely lean on your significant other if you have one. Important. Regeneration. Ooh, I like this. All right, so it's important to, we have a regeneration card somewhere in the other two decks. I'm glad it came out through this one. It's such a beautiful artwork, isn't it? So regeneration is building back again or something better. Okay, so that's why this is such a great card, because it's important to know that you can build this back or get something better. Okay, so this is basically, it's under important, so it's saying like you have to remember this week for whatever reason. So if you feel like you're not going to get something back, you will get it back, and more so. If you've lost out on an opportunity as well, I want to say this, it means that you're going to get something better. Okay, it's kind of similar, maybe a little bit to the Fates card in that way. But yeah, it's just important to know that you can build back better for sure. You could this card could physically manifest, like if you lost like your house, God forbid, you lost your house in a fire. Okay, I always think of this example when I see this energy and feel this energy. It's saying like you can build your house back and better, so you can build your dream home. You know, maybe you loved your home, but now you can build your dream home, you know. And so it's like a terrible thing that happened, but you can get it back, and again, better. So maybe this is the week that you start to plan into action to actually start building the house that you want, right? After this terrible tragedy. I know that's like a huge example, but could be like a smaller one as well. It doesn't have to be like that huge. But I love seeing that. The way that I also think about this card too is like I have damaged nerves, so I have to build back my nerve. Like I have to regenerate, quite literally regenerate the nerves, my cranial nerves, right? In my face, in my head, you know, behind my eyes. That's why I can't see sometimes, and it takes a long time, obviously. But I'm gonna be so much better after this. I just know it. Because I'm gonna have knowledge of my health. I'm just going to be more appreciative of my health, and I'm just going to be, you know, I'm going to turn into the healthiest version of myself. I just know it. It just takes like a long time, right? But regeneration is there to let us know that it's possible and it's going to happen. All right, health and wellness. We have mystic, revels, and intimate union with the divine. Okay, so this is really just saying like make sure you intertwine spirituality into your health and your wellness this week. Could be anything. Obviously, if you're on a spiritual awakening journey or spiritual journey, you already are integrating it. Maybe it's quite literal, where it's saying like, you know, look at your, you know, now it's time for the mystic, you know, the mystical and the metaphysical part of your spiritual journey. Yeah, if you're on a mental health journey, maybe you're starting to think about incorporating spirituality into that. You know, there's some things there that are intertwined, and things like that. This is just asking you to bring spirituality into it. And then last but not least, we have overall outcome, unfinished symphony. Okay, so it looks like towards the end of the week, which would be like more so the weekend, we'll start finishing things up that we've started or haven't completed. So I definitely do feel like maybe the weekend is full of completing projects and just like kind of getting stuff done, which is great because we haven't necessarily had any type of we haven't had any, we have some feminine yin energy here, but we don't necessarily have any yang energy going on, or I didn't feel like any busyness or anything like that. So it'll be a pretty even-keeled week. But like I said, I definitely do feel like the weekend is kind of full with like finishing projects, or it's like a good idea to finish up projects, which is pretty cool. Heading into the next week, which I believe the 26th, again, I'm not an astrologist, okay, but I've been following the planets, trying to figure out who's bullying me. And it's Saturn, but also Neptune, okay, has been a little bit of a bully as well. And that's actually on the 26th going into Aries, okay, for the first time after like 14 years or something like that, something crazy. So we might be like finishing up something from a 14-year cycle. I'm just guessing here. Okay, definitely feels like finishing something up, but as I'm trying to integrate just a little bit of astrology of what I know, it could be pertaining to that. It could be pertaining to you're finishing up something that lasted for 14 years, okay? Might be a home project, I don't know. A friendship, I don't know, okay? But I thought that was very interesting there. Maybe a friendship, turning it right back to the reciprocity. There we go. I said it right again. Okay, go me. A card where it's kind of saying like what you put in, you want to get back out. You want to get something for it. And maybe it has something to do with a friendship. And maybe you're ending that friendship. I don't know. I'm trying to piece things together as like a story. But again, could be anything since this is a really broad reading for the collective. But just giving my 2 cents what it could be in that way. Maybe you haven't invested in over 4. The other thing that I mentioned with that card is that it could be investing. Maybe you haven't invested in 14 years, and you finally have money to do so again, and you want to start investing again. So you're finishing up, putting things into like a high yield savings account. And now you're actually going to put it into index funds. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there, but I definitely do feel like there's finishing of projects this weekend. So overall, I like this week. I don't see anything that I would say red flag. I know a lot of you might be frustrated with the time for a nap in the money, finances, and career, because I'm pretty sure with similar messages last week, like nothing is really moving forward in career. But if it is for you, I would definitely look at that leg up card. But again, it's under issues, so there still might be issues in that area. So yeah, I just feel like maybe frustration, but not necessarily anything that I would consider a red flag. So, all right, guys. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.